It's 23:47 local time in the Red Sea. The USS Carney, a 9,000-ton Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer, is running at 18 knots through water so dark it looks like oil. Her captain has been on the bridge for 6 straight hours. On the radar display in Combat Information Center, his weapons officer is watching 21 separate airborne contacts form up 70 miles to the northeast. They are not commercial aircraft. They are not military jets. They are drones. Iranian-designed, Houthi-operated one-way attack drones, each one carrying a warhead packed with enough high explosive to kill the men sleeping 2 decks below the waterline. 21 of them, headed directly for this ship. What happens in the next 47 minutes will be studied in naval warfare colleges for decades. Not because the U.S. Navy won, that part was never in doubt, but because of how they won and what it cost both sides to find out that launching 21 drones at a U.S. destroyer is perhaps the most expensive mistake you can make in the modern world. To understand what Iran and its Houthi proxies were trying to do, you need to understand a concept called saturation attack doctrine. It's not a new idea. The Soviet Union spent the Cold War refining it. The principle is simple. Every warship has a finite number of missiles, a finite number of gun rounds, a finite number of seconds in which its systems can engage incoming threats. If you send more threats than that, all at once, from multiple directions, at varying speeds and altitudes, something gets through. The math is brutal and honest. An Arleigh Burke destroyer carries 96 cells in its vertical launch system. Those cells hold a mix of standard missiles, Tomahawks, and anti-submarine rockets. Not all of those are air defense missiles. The ones that are, the SM-2 and SM-6, cost between $2 million and $4 million each. A Shahed 136, the Iranian one-way attack drone the Houthis are using tonight, costs approximately $20,000 to manufacture. Let that exchange rate sink in for a moment. Iran doesn't need to sink the USS Carney. Iran doesn't even need to damage her. If Iran can force the Carney to fire 21 SM-2 missiles at 21 $20,000 drones, Iran has just spent $420,000 to drain $42 million worth of American missiles from the magazine. And unlike a drone factory running 24 hours a day in a desert warehouse outside Sana'a, an SM-6 missile takes years to produce and costs more than a Boeing 737. This is the game Iran is playing, and tonight, playing it with 21 drones closing at 110 knots from the northeast, they think they finally figured out how to win it. The launch sequence started 3 hours ago, 140 miles inland from the Yemeni coast. Mobile launch vehicles, modified flatbed trucks, drove out of hardened shelters before dawn and dispersed to pre-surveyed positions across 3 separate provinces. The Houthis learned from October 2024. When Iran launched 180 drones at Israel in a single wave from a single direction, Israeli and American interceptors killed every single one of them. Every one. Tonight, they're not doing that. Tonight, they're launching in staggered groups from 3 separate vectors at altitudes ranging from 50 feet above the wavetops to 3,500 feet, forcing the Carney's radar and fire control systems to track and engage threats at completely different engagement geometries simultaneously. And they've added something new, something the Carney's crew has never faced operationally before. At 23:01, the Carney's AN-SPY 1D phased array radar, a system that can track 100 separate airborne targets simultaneously, begins painting the first wave. 11 contacts. Bearing 047, range 68 miles, speed 110 knots, altitude variable, some at 150 feet, some at 1,800, 2 of them skimming the surface at under 30 feet. The weapons officer, a lieutenant commander with 12 years of surface warfare experience, has run this scenario in simulation more times than he can count. He runs it differently tonight, because simulation doesn't have the smell of hydraulic fluid and adrenaline. Simulation doesn't have the knowledge that there are 280 other people on this ship, and that the command he gives in the next 90 seconds will determine whether all of them go home. He calls it General Quarters. Every light on the ship shifts to red. Every watertight door seals. Every sailor who was asleep 30 seconds ago is now running. The Carney's two 20mm Phalanx close-in weapon systems, The last line of defense, the gun that fires 4,500 rounds per minute in a cloud of tungsten that can shred anything that gets within 1,500 meters, slave themselves automatically to the fire control radar. On the bridge wing, the forward CIWS mount swings 23 degrees to port. Its radar dome begins sweeping. It's looking for drones. It will find them. But here's the thing about the Phalanx CIWS that Iran's planners banked on tonight. It only kills what's already close enough to kill you back. You need a longer reach, and that longer reach has a price. The Carney's Tactical Action Officer authorizes the first engagement solution at 2309, range to lead contact 41 miles, and SM-3 Block IIA leaps out of the forward VLS at 2309-17. The hatch opens at 1.3 seconds. The missile clears the rail at 2309-19. It crosses the speed of sound before it clears the ship's mast. 2 miles downrange, it's already gone. A white streak curving northeast that the watch team on the bridge can follow for about 4 seconds before it disappears into the dark. At 2309-41, the contact it was aimed at ceases to exist. 1 down, 20 to go. And the math problem the USS Carney is solving in real time, how many missiles it fires versus how many drones it actually needs to, and at what cost, is about to get significantly more complicated. At 2314, the second wave materializes on the Carney's radar. 7 contacts, bearing 112, coming from the east. While the weapons team was tracking and engaging the first 11, a second group launched from positions 200 miles away on the opposite side of the threat axis. Split-axis attack. The Tactical Action Officer says 3 words that are not printable in polite company, takes a breath, and starts building a second engagement queue. The third wave appears at 2319. 3 contacts, bearing 005, almost due north. High altitude, fast for a drone, nearly 160 knots. These aren't Shahed 136. The Electronic Warfare Suite picks up their radar return signature and cross-references it against the threat library in 0.4 seconds. Mohajer 6. Iranian manufactured tactical drones range over 200 kilometers, capable of carrying TV-guided missiles and laser-designated bombs. These aren't one-way kamikazes designed to fly into the ship. These are observers. They're flying a racetrack orbit 40 miles out, at 8,000 feet, transmitting real-time video of the Carney's position back to Houthi commanders ashore. Every time the Carney maneuvers, evasive course change logged. Every time the VLS fires, exhaust plume recorded, fire rate calculated. Every time the Phalanx swings to a new bearing, field of coverage mapped. Iran isn't just trying to overwhelm the Carney tonight. Iran is studying her, learning the exact parameters of her defensive envelope in live fire conditions that no simulation can replicate. The data those Mohajer drones are transmitting right now will shape the design of the next attack, and the one after that. This is the part that keeps American naval planners up at night, not the drones themselves. The learning rate, because Iran is running controlled experiments against the most advanced surface combatant in naval history. The cost of admission is $20,000 per drone. The tuition they're buying is priceless. The Carney's EW officer identifies the Mohajer 6s at 2321. He has 2 options: shoot them down. SM-2 engagement, $2 million each, 3 missiles, $6 million to silence 3 cameras, or jam them. The AN/SLQ-32 V-6 shipboard electronic warfare system activates at 2322. A focused jamming beam saturates the Mohajer 6's data link frequency. The video feed going back to Houthi command in Yemen goes to static. The drone doesn't crash. It has a lost link protocol that puts it into a holding orbit, but it's blind. The tuition stops. Cost of that decision, the fuel to run a jammer for 40 minutes versus $6 million in SM-2 missiles. That is not a difficult call, but the first 11 drones are now 22 miles out and closing. There is no jamming a Shahed 136. It doesn't have a data link. It launched with its GPS coordinates preloaded. It doesn't need to talk to anyone. It just flies to the spot and detonates. You can't talk it out of it. You have to kill it.